Hello everyone, Muckluck Douglas Bartholomew Reginald Esquire IV here, and this is a guide on the basics of Path of Exile. Path of Exile is an amazing free-to-play action RPG, but can be overwhelming coming into it for the first time. Let's remove some of that confusion now. When you go to create your first character, you are hit with a screen like this. So what are leagues? Path of Exile consistently adds new content every few months, which can only be played with new characters. So when a new league comes out, it has a fresh economy, a new start, and leaderboards if you wish to race against others. Each league adds new mechanics to the game, and if they are popular, then they are kept, and if not, they are removed or tweaked. At the end of a league, all existing characters from that league get moved over to Standard. Standard has all of your items and characters from previous leagues, along with an ever-inflating economy. Most people prefer to play the current leagues over Standard, and some call Standard the graveyard. But your old items are all there if you want to access them. To give an example of this explanation in action, in late 2020, the Heist League started. All characters pre-Heist were moved to Standard, and new tunes could be made in the Heist League. Now, the Heist League was pretty well received, so they kept the mechanics in. After the Heist League ended, everyone was moved over to Standard, and the Ritual League started in early 2021. But the Heist mechanics were still in the new league. This results in the current form of the game having dozens of past league mechanics in it, with the game constantly improving and evolving. Now, hardcore is almost what it sounds like. In other games, if your hardcore character dies, it would be deleted. In Path of Exile, if it dies, it will become a standard character and will no longer be hardcore. The solo self-found option is unlocked after your first tune gets through Act 3. This allows you to play in a league where you can't trade or group with other people, if you want to boast that you reached your accomplishments with no assistance, that kind of thing. You can migrate from solo self-found over to the current league, or from solo self-found standard over to just standard, but it is a one-way trip. Pick whatever league you want. I recommend the current Challenge League. Character class. For the new player, there will be 6 options. The Scion is unlocked after you beat Act 3 for the first time. Now, each class is far less limited than in most other games. Your skills are not determined by your class. You can teach the Marauder to shoot fireballs, he just probably won't be very good at it. Here are some broad generalizations. The Marauder is the pure strength class. The Ranger is pure dexterity, and the Witch is pure intelligence. The Templar is a strength/intelligence hybrid, the Shadow is a dexterity intelligence hybrid, and the Duelist is a strength dex hybrid. The Scion, once unlocked, is a jack of all trades. Pick your first class, slap a name on them, and dive in. You'll get your first weapon and skill gem in the first minute. Open your inventory with the I key to look at them. The weapon has sockets, which will typically come in red for strength skills, green for dexterity, or blue for intelligence skills. In most cases, a skill gem can only go into its matching color socket. Once a skill is placed in a socket on any gear you have equipped, you can use the skill. Feel free to rebind the keys of anything you need to. Shortly, you'll come across a large chest on the beach with a support gem in it. You can see it says support near the top. Put this into your weapon in the socket connected to your first ability to improve it. If you have many skills, you can see which ones that this support gem will work on here. This means that if you had an item with 4 links, you could have a single skill boosted by 3 support gems, or 2 skills boosted by 2 supports, etc. Just remember, they have to be linked for the support gem to work. Getting an item with enough sockets of the right colors and the most links possible is something to always watch for. If you want additional details on a skill gem, you can hold the Alt key while mousing over it. I recommend changing one setting. Hit Escape, go to Options, UI, and check Always Shows Sockets. This makes it easier to see all the sockets of items in your inventory. Potions. Your potions will recharge automatically as you kill creatures. Use them as you need to, kill things to fill them back up. A useful early game tip is to grab all potions. You can trade 3 identical health or mana potions to a vendor for 1 potion of the next level. The Talent Tree. Okay, if you haven't seen this yet, don't run away. It isn't as overwhelming as it looks. So this is the Talent Tree. I said don't leave! Here are a few tips to vastly simplify this. The top third of the tree is mostly intelligence, the bottom left third is mostly strength, and the bottom right is mostly dexterity. The starting classes begin in their corresponding areas. For example, the Witch starts in the intelligence area, and the Templar starts between the strength and intelligence sections. The Scion, once unlocked, starts in the middle. You can move around the tree by spending points and eventually reach anything, but it would take a lot longer for a Marauder to get up to the intelligence skills than it would a Witch. The next tip to simplify this monster is the search box at the top. Let's say you were looking for talents that gave more fire damage. Simply type fire in the search box and all nodes with that word will blink. You might also try elemental, which boosts all elemental damage including fire for those nodes. Use this to find what you are looking for. If you spend points you regret, you can make some corrections with refund points. You will get some for free from quest rewards, and occasionally when you loot an orb of regret, you can consume it to earn another refund point per orb. If you wish to copy an existing build that is tried and true, I'll include links to some various websites in the description with a collection of them. What to loot and what to leave behind. Path doesn't have a common single currency like gold. When you sell things to merchants, you will get scraps of scrolls or shards in return, depending on what you sold. Early on, you will want to pick up nearly everything, and then you won't want to pick up white items anymore unless they have a good set of sockets, then you won't want to pick up blue items anymore unless they have a good set of sockets, etc. Vendors also have what the community calls vendor recipes. Basically, when you sell them items with certain characteristics, you will get back something special. One example that serves me well is any item with a linked red, green, blue. This sells for a chromatic orb every time, so keep an eye out for these. An item-related tip. You can hold the Alt key while mousing over an item to compare it to what you are wearing for that slot side by side. Scrolls of Wisdom and Portal Scrolls. Wisdom identifies an item, revealing its properties, and portal scrolls make a portal to town that will close after you return to your original location through it. Currencies. There are many different currencies in Path. Most of them are pretty clear on what they do if you mouse over them. Some most commonly used are Jeweler's Orbs, which randomize the number of sockets on an item, Fusing, which randomizes the links between the sockets, and Chromatic, which randomizes the colors. Keep all currencies you find, because you never know when you might need them. A tip on currencies. If you're trying to re-roll an item many times, you can right-click an item to use it, then hold the Shift key and left-click repeatedly on an item until you get the desired result. Stash. The stash in town is like your bank from many other games. A couple of useful tips here. You can right-click on a tab at the top to set an affinity, which basically means I want all of my currency or whatever to go here. This allows you to send items to the bank with Control-click, and no matter what tab is open, it will sort itself out by affinity. Defenses. You will come across some different types of protection. Armor. Reduces incoming damage you take. Armor typically has strength requirements and will more often have red gem sockets. Energy Shield. This creates a blue shield over your hit point bar. Any incoming damage will hit the shield before your hit points, then your health after. Energy Shield regenerates rapidly after a few seconds of not getting hit. If you ever played StarCraft, it's Protoss shields. This is found on gear that has an intelligence requirement and will more often have blue sockets. Evasion. Like to gamble? Evasion gives you a chance to completely dodge. This is found on gear with dexterity requirements and more often has green sockets. Gear can be a hybrid and have multiple types, such as some armor and some energy shield, with int and strength requirements both. Crafting. Eventually you will get a hideout, accessed with this button here in the map window. A kind of home instance that you can design. One of the things there is a crafting bench. You can put items on it and spend some of your currencies to add stats to them. One tip that helps me is to press C and look at your defenses once you're out of the early game. Is your cold, fire, or lightning resistance really low? Use the crafting table to slap some resistance onto your gear and patch that up. In your travels, you will occasionally find more crafting recipes. Just watch for the icon on the map, usually in important areas with bosses and such. Ascendencies. Later on, you will get access to the Lord's Labyrinth, which will allow you to ascend your character to a specialization. For example, the witch can become a necromancer, an occultist, or an elementalist. If you have a general idea of the kind of character you want to shoot for in the long term, you might like browsing this webpage of Ascendancy classes to choose what to shoot for. The link for it will be in the description. The shop. Path of Exile is a free-to-play game, and it does have an in-game shop. Most of what is here is cosmetic options, weapon skins, outfits, and even new spell animations. There are a few things in here that affect gameplay in a quality of life type of manner, namely the stash tabs. For example, the currency tab, made to hold massive stacks of each currency in the game. If you play Path of Exile and decide you enjoy it and you wish to make a purchase, the currency tab is the biggest quality of life increase, followed by the other stash tab types if you wish to get them. A few miscellaneous tips. Holding Control will pull up another set of buttons at the bottom right for you to bind abilities to if you need to do so. When entering a level, even via waypoint, you can control left click it to generate a new level. This is useful if you want to clear or farm the same area over again. Strong boxes. You can use orbs on these to increase their risk and reward. I like to carry around at least some orbs of transmutation and alteration to do just that. And I think that about covers the basics of the basics. Path of Exile is a massive and wonderful game, but it doesn't have to be confusing. Grinding Gear Games has treated the player base wonderfully, giving out massive content patches every 3 months or so for years, that are basically the size of expansions to other game titles. This has resulted in a lot of updates and leagues to the game, which are still present and can be overwhelming to new players, and hopefully this helped. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you have any tips or tricks related to this content, be sure to leave them in the description down below, and subscribe for more similar content. That's all for today. Give 'em hell, Exile.